Hi guys, welcome to another makeup video. Today's video I'm going to be doing a voiceover, so I just thought that I would come on here in the intro and actually talk to you guys. And the makeup that we're doing today is what I assume has been all over TikTok. I saw one photo on Pinterest and I absolutely fell in love with the look and I really want to try it. And then just now I went on TikTok to search up snake transitions for my own video, like, because I don't really watch TikToks anymore, or at least at the moment. It started as a January goal and then it just, every month I'm just stretching it out. So I haven't been using TikTok or Instagram other than to post, or Facebook. And yeah, it's been good. But so I went on there to see what I could find for a transition, and it was all of the snake look that I've just seen. So clearly this is trending. Clearly it's something that's up there at the moment. So who knew I was going to be doing a trending video without even knowing that it was trending? But there we go. Anyway, it's a snake makeup with like the eyes on your eyeshadow, the eyes of your eyeshadow, and there's like a skin coloured concealer, snakeskin down the middle of the face, and cool lips. And yeah, I just really loved it, so I thought it would be so cool to do that. But I recently edited my skincare video, which I told you guys you would be getting, and I did voiceover with this little mic, and I actually really loved how it turned out. So I'm gonna do this video voiceover as well, but I just thought I'd hop on here and talk to you face to face before we start the actual video. But yeah, we're just gonna get straight into it. So to start off, I'm just taking this Crayola Creams palette, and it's got all the shade names on the back. And I'm just taking this little rounded dense brush, and I'm mixing the lightest shade with the first skin colour shade, because I did start with the white and it was way too pale for it to look skin coloured, so we just switched. And then I'm sort of creating these scales, starting going up just the centre of my nose, as like a baseline, and then we sort of go in around it afterwards. And as you can see, I'm just sort of swiping this sort of rectangular but not perfect shape, and then bringing that up into the centre of my forehead between my eyebrows. Here I just switched to a more flat brush because I found that the other brush was quite big for the centre of my nose, and we're about to put in some smaller scales, so we needed a bit of a better brush. And now we're just sort of going down the edges completely in line with the scales we've already put on, and just creating another row of scales down the edge of the nose, and this sort of makes the nose look a bit more three-dimensional, even though obviously your nose already is three-dimensional, just makes the scales look three-dimensional. And then everything I'm doing, like on the centre of my nose, I'm sort of just matching up to be symmetrical to the other side, and I'm sort of playing it by eye but also following a reference photo. And then done the same thing between the brows, sort of had to go into the eyebrow as well a little, but that didn't matter. And then again, just making it symmetrical on the other side. And then moving up onto the forehead, I sort of did this baseline of 3 bigger scales in the centre, and then we did 2 either side of that, which is completely copied from the reference photo. And I wanted to make these ones a bit bigger because they're sort of the main area. And I should have slightly curved these a bit more to give it more of a round look, but we sort of fixed that in the end anyway. And then I just did the exact same on the layer above that, and here I'm just adding in a few sparse ones, and here we are where I just thought we were, adding in the others. And then in the centre created a 3 row of scales, and you can see I sort of started to curve them up here to give it more of a rounded head, and then just sort of filled in the gaps where I'd left them from the straight line to the curve. And here I'm just adding in a few dots to sort of just make it blend a bit better with the skin. And then down onto the Cupid's bow, I just did 3 little scales straight down the centre, and then followed that with another 3 either side of it, which later on we will blend. On the chin, then I did the same with the scales, but I created almost the shape of a set of 2 front teeth, where we sort of just left a direct line straight down the middle. And then we followed that down the side, sort of in brick layers, where the scales don't completely match up to the ones in the centre, they sort of stagger between, just to give it a bit more of a broken effect, and did that either side. And again, these ones are to be blended on the edges. So here, I'm just wiping off the product off my brush and then going in exactly as I said to blend the edges out. This sort of just makes it look like it's more part of the skin rather than I've just drawn them on. So I just blend these out very lightly, and I had to go in with my finger a few times, but just making sure there's no product on that brush already before we sort of pat them out gently. And then as you can see, we basically did this on all of the outer scales, up the nose, up the Cupid's bow, and then onto the forehead as well. And then for eyes, I'm just starting with the Smoky Beauty Bay palette, and we're taking the black shade in this on a little flat brush, and starting in the corner of my eye, we're sort of creating a cut crease shape of black, but we're sort of just, you can see what I'm doing, but we're going along the first bit of the eye, blending it out, creating almost a cat eye, and then we move on to the wing of the eye as well, and we do a little half wing. We don't bring it all the way into the centre of the eye because we need to leave space for colour. And then, like I did on the front, just blending in a bit more black to create an ombre effect. And then to go in with colour, we're just using my Matte Bright Beauty Bay palette, and I'm going to be taking this sort of dull green shade. I say dull because we're also using a neon later on, but I just took a small brush and blended in this green to the black that we'd already applied, and still left the centre with no product on. And then here I'm just taking this little funky palette. I don't actually know the name of it, I can't read it properly, but it's a Neons and Glitters palette. We're just taking the neon green, and I'm taking this on a flat Made by Mitchell brush and applying this directly to the centre to fill in the gaps so that we have one solid eye. And blending this into the green we previously applied sort of just helps it ombre a bit more. And then here I'm just going in with the green again, sort of relayering those colours and the black to just blend it together seamlessly. And then here I'm just bringing a black line between the 2 black pieces we created earlier, and this will just resemble the top of the snake's eye. And then I just go in and blend that a little bit down into the green as well, so that we've got a 3-dimensional sort of eyeball on the eyelid. And then here I'm just stamping on that same black colour directly down the centre to create a snake's eye, which is sort of just like a straight line. I'm stamping that black on, and I sort of blend it a little bit, and then I sort of realised that it wasn't as dark as I wanted it to be, so I switched to my e.l.f. liquid liner, and we just drew a straight black line down the middle of the black blending that we'd already created, which gave it a nice effect. And then I sort of decided that the black edge wasn't black enough with the eyeshadow, so I just went in and perfected that with the liner, and on the ends, on the wing and on the inner corner of the eye, I did then blend that liner into the eyeshadow using a small brush. And here I'm just extending the cat eye to be more of a sharp point for a snake eye rather than an official cat eye. And then here, taking my painted crate paint in the shade Ghosted, which is just the white shade, on a small brush, and we're basically just creating the last detail of the eye, which is highlights. And then off camera I did the other eye, and we're just going to go in with this Revolution, I think it's called a Koali pencil, I could be wrong, but it's just like a black eyeliner pencil, and I like to use this on my lower lash line just to join up the black, curling my lashes, ready to put on some mascara. For mascara, I'm taking my black Max Tank mascara. This is just the one I use all the time. And I'm just coating my upper lashes, and then I do go in on my lower lashes as well. And now that we've finished the lashes, going on to lips. Yes, we are taking the exact same black liner that we just used in the eyes for a lip liner, because I can't find my black lip liner. I have a black lipstick, but I wanted a liner. I'm just starting out by lining my lips as I normally would, the natural shape, just with a black pencil. And then to follow the inspiration photos that I have seen everywhere, basically I'm sort of creating a 3 shape that's turned sideways, like a 3 laying down on the bottom lip, and then I do resemble that as well on the top lip, but we just start by filling in the inner corners a bit, almost like bubble right in, and then I go in the centre and create a straight line straight up in the middle, which is where we get our 3 shape from. And I just join that all in a curved motion, so there's no corners, it's all just curved together. And this almost gives the resemblance of a snake tongue, I would say. And then again, it did the same on the top lip. And after this clip, I did join the corners of the top lip to the bottom lip. And then just taking a clear gloss, this is the Juicy Infusions one, and I thought this would go nice over the top of the lipstick, just made it look nice and shiny. But I had to be very careful not to just swipe it over the black. I was patting it onto the clear bits and then onto the black, so we didn't spread any of the product. And that is the finished makeup look. I was really pleased with how this turned out. So I just recorded a few clips here for you to see the makeup up close. Thank you guys so much for watching today's video. I hope you enjoyed, and I'm really pleased with how this turned out. I just thought I'd do a little outro for you guys, because obviously we haven't talked throughout the video, but I hope you enjoyed. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, leave a comment if you feel like it, and check out all my other social medias in the description box below, and I will see you guys back here next week for another one. Thanks for watching guys. Bye.